Hey everybody, I have a little bit of a confession to make. I've become a bandwagon jumper. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that have jumped on the bandwagon of a team that's doing well when they're doing well and ignored them up to that point. I specifically refer to the Toronto Blue Jays. You see, I'm not a big baseball guy. I like hockey. And when it comes to baseball, I gave up. It was too boring. It schlepped out too long. And even with all the new rule changes that they had, that they make it go faster, haven't been to a game, don't watch any games, had zero interest, didn't watch World Series, nothing for years, probably for a decade. But this year, it's different. Why? Because the Toronto Blue Jays, as we speak, are in first place and one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. They're even better than the New York Yankees with their $300 million payroll. Now, I know the negative view of bandwagon jumpers. I've had that view of many people when it comes to my beloved Florida Panthers. All of a sudden, there's all these Florida Panther fans. Well, where were you 10 years ago when I was sitting there in the arenas, which were 70% empty, which I kind of like because you can get great seats for really cheap. But there was no one into the Panthers, and all of a sudden there's all these Panther fans, and I look down at those bandwagon jumpers. I've become that guy. I've become that guy. So you see, if you ask the powers that be at Major League Baseball who they prefer, a bandwagon jumper or someone who has no interest at all, they'll tell you they prefer the bandwagon jumper. Certainly they prefer the fan who's there through thick and thin. Of course, that goes without saying. But when it comes to this b'diavad, this after the fact, this second-rate fan who only jumps in when it gets interesting for his team, do they prefer that over the guy who has zero interest? Of course they do. Why? Because they think that, you know what, you're into it now, you'll taste it, you'll like it, you'll want to come back. Which brings me to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Because when it comes to bandwagon jumpers of Judaism, we know Rosh Hashanah, especially Yom Kippur, that's the World Series. That's the Toronto Blue Jays in first place. That's when Jews who haven't stepped into a synagogue and maybe had nothing to do with Judaism, all of a sudden find themselves wanting to connect with being Jewish and showing up, maybe just for the shofar blast, maybe just for Kol Nidre or Ne'ilah. Is that hypocritical? Is it negative? No. Look at, obviously, just like MLB, the Major League Baseball, people would prefer the fan that's there all the time. Still, that secondary fan is better than no fan at all. It's the same thing with Judaism. If you're a bandwagon jumper on Judaism, we're okay with that. Why? Because we're hoping you're going to go to synagogue and you'll experience something. Something will touch you. The shofar will touch you. You'll feel something spiritual. You'll feel that connection. Or even the person who does go to shul regularly but is talking and schmoozing and eating and drinking and da-da-da-da. You know, maybe Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, when you jump on that bandwagon and experience it, you'll go, you know what? I want to do it like this the rest of the year. I don't want to go back in that kiddish club and schmooze and eat and drink and ignore the Torah reading, etc. So bandwagon jumping, yeah, it's not the best, but it has its place. You know, we have a very, very basic principle in Judaism. You do a mitzvah shalom lishma, you do it not for the best reasons. We're okay with that. Why? Because you'll taste the sweetness of doing a mitzvah, and you'll want to do it lishma, you'll want to do it regularly and with the right intentions and all in. So if you're bandwagon jumping on any level, just like the Major League Baseball people appreciate you, accept you, welcome you back, so too it is with Almighty God. If you jump on the bandwagon of Judaism on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, welcome back, and we hope you'll stay. Have a good Shabbat, and Kativa v'Chatima Tova, you should be written and inscribed for a happy, healthy, prosperous, successful, wonderful year of only Besorot Tovot, of good news, and ultimately, please God soon, Shalom al Yisrael, peace on Israel and Jews everywhere. Have a good Shabbat.